understanding of startups and who's willing to innovate. And it's really hard. So the problem is that I'm in a business that is very conservative by nature. So if you're a tax advisor or a lawyer, generally you don't have an incentive or not even the willingness to change the way you do business. And the thing is, like, we are trying to make it work at scale, right? So if you're a lawyer, you know your clients, you work one-on-one, you charge by the hour, like when you file a tax return or you're a CPA guy.
Yeah,
So
the restroom, I will actually have to take you. I don't know why the
scale,
girls'
so
access is
Okay.
blocked by
to charge
card.
like $20
We'll go
for
ahead and
tax return.
take you.
Get
So that
escort.
means that in your name,
That's a good
we'll be
thing.
filing like thousands of returns every month.
Mm-hmm.
There's no chance you'd be able to check off on each, right? So, and this is a mental hurdle that you have to overcome as a lawyer or a tax advisor. That you are not gonna know your clients, and you're gonna have to believe in the outcomes that we generate.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
that's if you know someone, I'd love to talk to them. So, like, that's the big point right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an attorney. He's a designer, but
Yeah, but he might know.
he's from Milan.
Yeah, 'cause
so
actually,
he knows a lot
yeah.
of people in Italy.
Yeah,
He
so-
goes there all the time. He's native.
Yeah, so we got a really good referral for a tax attorney in Poland through a friend of a friend.
Everyone's so cute and funny today.
Yeah.
So,
So.
do you have a card or something? Because I may have to leave in the middle of your thing.
Oh, I can give you my LinkedIn.
Good.
Yeah. Or
Here, I'll write it down.
or an email.
Yeah, just give me your LinkedIn and I'll write it down here.
If you look up Steve Strebl,
Can you spell that last name?
STR EBL, STREBL.
E-B-L. Okay.
Yeah. There should be a person that looks roughly like me.
I gotta get my LinkedIn together.
I know it is 12. Did you want to start when Tammy comes back from the restroom?
Yeah, we can wait, no worries. Let's give everybody like that extra 5 minutes, right?
Is everyone excited for the heat and summer to come back?
I was excited, and now I'm fearful.
For real.
It took about 3 days. I'm like the first day I was like, this is great. Then on day 3 I'm like, uh-oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna get too hot real
You
fast.
start seeing the news, oh, we're approaching a record of 86. I'm like, what? What's going on?
Oh.
Here it comes.
It's February.
I'm excited about March. Like, I think it's the best month.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's
I am extremely fearful of bees.
What?
And like
bees.
the little bushes that have like the purple like shrubs and flowers, it's full of them.
Yeah.
And it's like right by my apartment, so whenever I walk to my car and I'm wearing something green, I'm like, I have to get in my car, I have to like run.
They're usually pretty focused on those flowers. I bet you're.
I hope they are. I think I just have fear from when I was a kid, like in elementary school. Yeah, in elementary school, I remember like I used to live in California, so like there were yellow jackets and like all over the
Well, there's
fields.
flowers everywhere there.
Right,
so,
yeah. And I lived in Southern California, so I grew up in Temecula,
Yep.
and like so many bees with the lime country right next to us, and like hornets would be on like the stoops of like the houses, and I'm like, oh my god, no, I can't. And then I hate the buzzing of it. It just makes me so scared. And then like whenever we were by the pool, if you leave a Coke can out, it's gone. Yeah, the sugar, it's full of bees.
Speaking of insects, do you know if there are any termites in Vegas?
Termites?
Not really.
That's what I was
Not that I've heard of.
Scorpions. I've
So
heard
I'm
of
trying to-
scorpions, but
I've
I've
seen
never.
scorpions,
That's
lots of scorpions.
Okay, that's not a problem for the house. Because I'm trying to figure if, like this, like pest control, if it's a scam, or if it's a real thing.
You're trying to sell you termite services?
If you have like a really older all wood house, like with wood siding, then
Yeah, I have that, and we have a bug guy, because we've had some bug things.
You
I would
should have a bug.
definitely,
We have a bug guy that comes once a month and sprays inside and
Yeah.
outside.
I
Yeah,
would
no, I know
definitely
they
do regular pest control.
Yeah, because I know they do offer it, but I was wondering if there's anything like it doesn't seem to be that you.
Yeah, no, in
Not
Southern
a lot of
California, that's
animals
the thing,
generally.
right? There's
Termites usually not. Cockroaches are a thing. Bed bugs are a thing. When I worked in leasing offices, apartments, no, it was mostly cockroaches. Yeah,
So
no
you would
termites.
say that doing regular pest control makes financial sense.
I think so too.
Yeah, if you don't like bugs.
Yeah.
I'm okay with bugs.
Welcome in.
What's up?
Hey. Okay, so shall we give it 2 more minutes or shall we go?
It's up to you.
Yeah? Okay, anyways, well, I guess we can get started slowly. So, anyway, we've been chatting, but just to sum it up, my name is Steve. I am the CEO of Mindful Navigator. So what we do, we are building a platform that automates legal compliance for companies expanding to and across Europe. So if you have an Amazon store in the United States and you want to start selling in Germany, the UK, and other countries, which Amazon really wants you to do nowadays, because they get fees from everything you sell, so they want to make sure that sellers expand. So we have a solution that deals with lots of crazy European regulation. This is the main product that we have right now. This is how it works. So in short, we take your data, your sales transactions from Amazon. We calculate the values for your tax return in each individual country. Obviously, it's got to be in the right format and right currency. And each country has a different agency and a different way how these returns get submitted, and we submit them for you. So this is kind of the bulk of what we do. It's not the end product. Again, like we are thinking about like focusing on other parts of legal compliance and like dealing with the tax issue differently. But it's definitely the main thing that holds you back from selling, because if you don't have a tax registration, you cannot sell a single unit. But anyways, well, this is kind of where we started. So, but today, we're gonna talk about something else. So the first question, as I said, it's gonna be more of a fireside chat. So what's your product? Like if you are, because today, like we're gonna talk about raising and how like how you go about getting invested, when and what time, starting from a very early stage. So any guesses? Or if you have a startup, like what would be your product as a founder?
Like any product, like I have a service, so
Okay.
I don't have a product.
If you're raising, there is one product.
yourself.
Almost there. Yeah.
Your team.
Yeah, you're selling equity. That's your product, right? So no matter who you are as a founder, like this is the standpoint that you should adopt. Like this is how you have to think about it. Like you are selling equity, and that's like either you're selling the product, and if you don't make enough revenue on your own, like then you're selling a bit of your company, and either way, it's money in your bank account, right? So. It's just like how you have to think about who you are pitching to or what the other person on the other side might want. The other question, and that's kind of an important question, so there are some prerequisites, right, for a company to be able to raise money. Number one is if the product that you're building is actually investable, meaning if you can give somebody an ROI and the growth that is required to make the VC math work. So obviously, if you're an investor, and especially the later stage investors, they don't care as much about what the company is building, and you can really abstract away a lot of what the company is actually making, even the brand and everything else. And it just comes down to how fast the company can grow, no matter whether you're selling, oranges and suddenly like these oranges become super popular, or eggs today, maybe.
kind of guy.
Yeah, so if you figured how to, how to breed chicken in a very, very fast way, I bet it'd be very hot, like there is a very hot market today. So it doesn't matter what it is, so long as you can present it as an opportunity with a good ROI. And this, I found something similar on Instagram recently. Just noticed that there was a really great table why all these AI companies, why there's such a hype around AI, because you can get a very quick return, very, very fast if you are in AI, and if you can do like the proper AI behind it. Cursor, if you are developers, you might be using that. I was using VS Code, I switched to Cursor.
Yeah.
So now I'm using Cursor. And
Do you
Yeah,
find
go.
it's less bloated than yours?
it works pretty much the same, except it has better AI capability, so everything gets done much faster. I remember I was building a wrapper for a map, like before this AI thing. It took me like a week to figure out how to build that wrapper. So it was for a Czech map server. With AI, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is that fast. So it just tells you. And but anyways, but back to investors. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. By the way, feel free to interrupt me or ask, because there isn't a lot of people, so we can just talk. They have choices. So especially later on, like they will see if how fast they can get their money back on their investment. So then the other thing that I want to discuss is that VCs underwrite a couple times of risk, right? So is your product investable? So I'm getting back to the first slide. If you want an investment into a co-working space or a pub, chances are it might be very hard, but still, like Starbucks, it's pretty big, right? Although it took them quite a long time to build a product. Then often consumer products are not that interesting, although there are actually investors who invest in consumer products specifically, and it's quite a niche. But a consumer product is probably not going to be a billion-dollar company, but you can still get a decent return if you have a really great consumer product. And these companies, they sell like in hundreds of millions of dollars. So there are investors who would do that, but typically VCs, like they want tech and they want something that is scalable. These are some popular ones that I have listed there: e-commerce, healthcare, real estate. It's pretty big. Healthcare, I found that amazing. I had my first encounter with U.S. Insurance, like that I had to actually deal with on my own. I found that hilarious, and I think there's plenty of opportunity. There are plenty of people just in Vegas. They're uninsured, even though they'd be eligible for some type of government or government-assisted insurance, Medicaid or Obamacare. Yeah.
They're changing everything now, so yeah.
Yeah, but there's it's such a layered system. For example, I didn't know that there are brokers for health insurance. I come from a country where I had a single policy. It's not like you could pick a health insurance company, and the difference would be if they'd subsidize your gym membership or if they'd give you vitamins for free. So that it was that level. So it really didn't matter much which you got. Here, anyways, it's so interesting, it's so complex that there's plenty of opportunity, and healthcare is obviously a major market, so that's why investors kind of like it. And even when I think about it, if I had known, I almost would have thought about just going for healthcare.
I'm doing healthcare this week, and the data was so bad they called me asking about all my marijuana use and the felony that I had been charged with, and it wasn't me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. I kept saying, it's not me. You have the wrong person. And then my healthcare broker got me another $50 off my plan because of the issue of
Yeah, so you're less risk.
Like, hold on, what is this? What is happening? And he's like, yeah, call me the guy, and $50 off. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyways, but there's plenty of opportunity, and I'm sure that if someone here wanted to figure out a way how to get people insured, I'm sure there's at least 100,000 people here in Vegas who could get insurance. They don't know it. I've helped 6 people, but before helping those 6 people, I spent 40 hours figuring out how the system works and trying to get all the nuances. So Anyways, but it's big, US wide, and that's why investors like it. With that being said, if you can make a convincing case that you're in another field and you can build something bigger, then yeah, they give you the money, right? Like you can be building rockets, or like there's other interesting stuff. Anyways, technology, does it work? Yeah, like obviously, it's a lot about perceptions, and I'm gonna tell you later, because ultimately the investor has to believe that the technology, like what you're building, is actually gonna work. Like there's plenty of proposals, especially like later, like they would probably want to bet it a little bit that what you're promising actually makes any sense. And execution, right? So again, I'm gonna get to it later, but and I talk about investable business, so there's a nuance too. So if I ask you to invest in my hot dog stand, are you gonna invest in it? Depends. And if I tell you that Elon Musk has just given me $100,000 for my hot dog business,
Absolutely. Take it all.
yeah. So like that, it comes down to this, right? And ultimately, it's very perception based. And still, by the way, like in terms of data or in terms of anything, you don't know anything about my hot dog business except this one little fact that has changed your perception. And especially when you're pitching, like every slide. And this is one guy. His name is Leo Petrosian. He built. He's building in healthcare. He's from California. It was one of the best pitches and one of the best presentations I've seen in my life in 2014. I remember it till this day. But every slide on your pitch should count, because either it can increase the likelihood, or it can go flat, or it can decrease the likelihood of you being invested. And this is you selling equity, right? So like every slide you got, like it's gotta count in everything you say. So what I mentioned about the hot dog business and like Elon investing, right? So that's gotta count if you're actually pitching. This is also a question that I've been dealing with and that I sometimes get asked about. When does it make sense to approach anybody, and when would you actually go raising? Because the thing is, if you go raising, it's a full-time job. Mm-hmm. So the moment you decide to go on a race, like you can't do anything else. I couldn't touch the computer probably, and I could just be going to events and meeting people, and I'd be doing it for like 3 months, half a year easily. And so you have to make the right goal when it makes sense, because at least like my approach would be to save all the hassle and to not do it actively, and to only do it when it actually makes sense, when the likelihood of somebody investing in you is relatively high. So if you have 0 sales, and if you have like basically just an idea, like and there are stories you hear about people raising millions of dollars on a PowerPoint presentation, and usually what I have found, it's actually not true. So there is a lot of things that are not being said, and just the public perception differs from what is actually the real thing underneath, except it doesn't get talked about. Like there is usually some truth to it, or some other stuff, but it's usually not the thing that there would be a random guy having a PowerPoint presentation would raise 12 million or something. I saw one guy told me this in Dubai specifically. There was one company, one of Airbnb suppliers. They said that raised $12 million on a PowerPoint. I'm kind of skeptical, because I think there's got to be some connection to somebody who had money or some long-standing relationship behind that. And which brings me to de-risking, right? So if you're trying to de-risk execution, what's your best strategy about de-risking somebody?
Have someone on your team who's done it before.
Sorry?
Have someone on your team who's done it before.
Yeah, that is right. But if you're thinking about investing in me, or hiring me, maybe like for a job, or say you want to expand your team, like how would you de-risk somebody?
I'd ask somebody else who's done it before to interview you.
Yes, that's true. And even better, it's just by time. You know that person. Right? Like you've known that person for a bit. And the longer the relationship is, the more, or the less risky it is, right? Because you know. So that brings me back to raising. And also, like, this is how a lot of VCs work. They're trying to delay the investment until as far in time as reasonably possible. So they will not say yes initially. But generally, if you get an intro and if you pitch, like that's when the clock starts ticking. Because you be like, hey, like we're building this business, you know, like we're here. And then, like yeah, press the timer, and you come back in a month, and you be like, so you know, like last month we talked, and now we're here, like we're growing, you know. And if you show that you have delivered in a month or in a reasonable time frame, so then obviously the likelihood of you being invested increases significantly. So it's the same with hiring, and that's why there are plenty of great candidates and plenty of great smart people you could hire for your business. Companies get loads of applications, right? Like 200 applications for a job or whatnot in tech. Still, 40% of hires are referrals for a reason, because they're dearest in some ways. And quite often, all the job opportunities, they come from actually knowing the people. And with being invested, it's no different. It's the same situation. It's like if you are getting a job, like someone's investing in you or someone's giving you money for your labor, like it's essentially you are the little business. Whereas if you're raising for a startup, it's the same thing. So yeah, like you generally want to build those relationships early and send investor updates. So this is quite popular. Actually, it's nice. Like if you have a list of people who are potentially invest. And also, I wouldn't ask the first time I would meet somebody, I wouldn't ask them for money. I would just it's usually the worst thing you can do. So never gonna work. Or maybe no. I actually no. Never. I think I don't like to be so conclusive. But in this case, I probably would be. So it's good to build that relationship, build some rapport. Figure even like for you, if this is a person you want to work with, and then kind of go from there. Get advice from them, see how you click, and they do their own eval on you. And after or in due course, you can potentially get money from that. So. Also, like, then when is a good time, or when this works, right? So no matter how good a relationship, if your business isn't performing, it's just not gonna do anything, right? It's just not gonna work. So initially, when you make zero money, it's really hard to find anybody except people who already know you. So, or like somebody who believes really in you and who's seen you execute on something that was very challenging, then, or if you have a track record, you are likely to have that person's trust and they might be willing to invest. And that's why it's friends, family, fools, or angels, just people who are willing to take that risk. And your angels are likely somebody you already know. So that's the main lesson. Like that's, yeah, just build those relationships. And also like another strategy, generally like ask for advice, like go to events, like show up, like that's why networking is important. And get those intros, build those relationships, and be like, we're not raising yet. The moment you hit a metric, your target metric, that's when you go out and be like, oh, okay, so now that we have, okay, interesting.
Nervous.
I don't know. So that moment, like when you hit your target metric, when it makes sense, then you'd be like, you send out that deck and be like, hey, we are raising, we are expecting to have this round closed by then, like we want to have all, like everything on the table by then, and then you flip the table, right? Because suddenly, like everybody, like you're at the same time, like basically like your chances are better, and also like your position, your evaluation in the negotiation is a lot better. So then, like when it makes sense to get the investment, like I mentioned, like 3K monthly, again, everything like it's not like totally clear cut, right? Like there's no rules in this world, so it could be anything. Like if you're building in space or something, you're probably not going to have revenue for years, or in medical research or whatnot. If you're in the business we are in, which is pretty standard, which is, we are a subscription platform, so we're gonna be hitting some metrics, and so like that's when you go out and potentially try to raise A round, because that's what when you abstract away things, like that's what investors would be looking at. Like if you're all else being equal, are you hitting those metrics? Are you actually making at least 3K a month? Like are you having do you have enough traction? In how fast did you get that traction? Like did you get the 3K a month or monthly recurring revenue? Actually that's there should be an R instead of an M. So as you can see, I was gonna put it together a little fast. But did you get 3K monthly recurring revenue in a month or two? Okay, perfect. I think you're ready to go for a seed and ask someone for money because you have a decent growth and very good. But either way, like before, it's really hard. It's a tough sell because the investors, they don't know your business, they don't know your customers, they don't know if what you're telling them is true or right or wrong, unless they see tangible truth, and that's where the money is. So. But anyways, it's really hard to get from the left to I'd say like here it's the toughest bit, especially like getting your first customer. Like that's just like it's very tough. Yeah, because basically like you're trying all kinds of things and no one wants to buy it. Like so you start doubting yourself. You're like yeah. But usually like that's how it is with anything. Like it's just like even the things like that I've done in the past, and it didn't matter on the business, like same when it came to selling online, couple of iterations to actually get people to start buying that. And it's very discouraging. So yeah, like my wife started an e-commerce business, eventually I get to run it today. And it wasn't selling, and she was actually just posted on her Facebook page with 100 friends, and hoping that internet gods would come to the rescue, right? But that's just not, so that then you get discouraged when suddenly like you don't get the traction you're hoping for. But that's just not, that's just how it works with almost everything. Like I don't think I've seen anyone hitting that traction instantly and just getting, getting it right on the first try. I don't, generally it's just about having the patience and the willingness to go through those iterations and get that traction, and then you get the validation. So psychologically it's a lot better, and you're in a much better state of mood if you get people who actually pay you, right? Like it's it gets a lot nicer, but it takes a lot of time to get there, and especially at the beginning, it's just a lot of grind. So then when you get to the next stage, and I actually don't want to talk about the last stage a lot today, but in the VC stage they typically aim for say 15%. So also like when you're positioning yourself, like you gotta position yourself in such a way that you can actually give that offer, and they're looking at certain metrics that you're hitting. So you get some traction, and you want to fuel the fire, you want to grow, you build up your sales engine really, so they get those returns, and they'd be aiming usually like for they're going for like 2 mil, like when for 15% roughly. Like that's just when you go for like Series A or a seed, late seed. The pre-seed, seed, that would be like roughly like 200K investment. It's like when you're asking for that, so they're like super early. So you're still you got your team, you got some traction, and you can prove that you're it's still highly risky, but you've demonstrated that you can actually deliver on what you're building. So because unfortunately, plenty of people have plenty of ideas and they try things, but we did Antler, by the way. So we did Antler in Austin in April 2024, and they make you go out and sell everybody on the team. Like I thought it would be a lot more like building focus, but really like the whole point was to demonstrate that you can actually get traction and that you can get out there in front of customers.
What was this? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Antler.
Antler?
Yeah. So it's an accelerator program. They're in Austin, where else in the US? I think they're in Boulder and New York. So, and they're worldwide. So there's plenty I think they're originally from Singapore. So basically it's like the investment would be roughly in that range, and you still have to show traction and that you have the team to deliver, and that you're able to get out there and actually sell, even though it might not make the best business sense in some cases, right? But the interests are different. So like quite often, and again, like many people, and myself included, sometimes prefer not to go out and sell, and prefer on the product. Oh, I only want to go out when the product actually is good, when it actually works. It's a wrong mindset. So, because otherwise, like the product is never gonna be perfect. You're never gonna get feedback, and you need customer feedback to actually make the product. So instead of spending a year on trying to build something you think could work, it generally speaking makes a lot more sense to go out there and get early customers who are willing to take you on and give you feedback, and with those customers you trade. And even like with us, like we've been running into issues that I have never foreseen, and I think I am very well versed in European law. Still, like there are just things, just freaky things that happen that I would never have found out had it not been for our early customers.
Like what's something you found out?
Yeah, so one thing that normally in the UK, to get registered or to do tax, like you need so-called government gateway ID, which is basically your digital identity in the UK.
Like a primary key for...
It's not a primary key, it's like a OAuth thing. So it's like when you get an account on Google. The problem is that you can, the moment you get it, like that, then that's when it sticks with you. And it's very easy to make it, but it's very difficult to change it later. And yes, and the problem is that some providers, especially when we want to onboard customers we are taking from competition, it's not, the customers, they don't control their digital identity, it's somebody else. And we are really struggling with getting hold of that digital identity because they had no clue they needed it. So somebody else set it up in their name. And we are trying to retrieve the keys.
That's so specific.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of resources. And your VAT returns, there's a deadline. So you gotta file. Like then the customer is asking. So we got a penalty point. Why did we get a penalty point from the UK tax authority? And we're working with them to get hold of that identity. So this is one thing that we found out, and it's there is a couple others.
Never would have thought that would be an issue.
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we thought it would be fairly simple, and we just get it. But yeah, wrong assumption, right?
Yep.
But anyway, so basically, like if you're about to raise, just think about the people you already know. Because if you want to raise today, and if you want to raise, angel money to just get off the ground, to get started, it is very likely that these people are in your orbit today.
So angel money is kind of like they give you a gift?
Depends, yes. So, gift, I mean, like, ideally it would be a check, right? But it wouldn't be a sizable check. It would be something, I don't know, it could be anything from $1,000 to, $50K. So, anything in that range. But think about it strategically, right? So generally it's money you're raising. But in this world, like perception is everything. It's when I mentioned like Elon has invested, right? Like that changes the perception. But it didn't change the facts. Like it's the same. Like I just added an extra sentence. So I kind of think that this whole VC game is ready for a disruption in its own right. But angel money, it's just somebody who can give you money because they believe in you, and it counts because there's at least one person in the world who's willing to bet on you, right? Like it's a bet. It's like you go to a casino, but hopefully the odds are better when someone gives you money for your business, right? So if you can prove that there are people in the world who believe in you and who are actually willing to put skin in the game, give you money, then that's what counts, and that is what convinces others. So if you have nobody on your cap table, it actually makes it difficult for you to grow your business down the line, rather than when you actually have people who put their reputation on the line, because they got their name and they put money on the line, and then it comes down to who those people are, and that's why I say choose strategically. Because if you have somebody who can raise your profile, or somebody who's got a great record, right? Like Elon Musk obviously has a great record as an entrepreneur, everybody knows. So if he's willing to bet on you, then your value increases, and it makes others more likely to give you that money. And you need these people on your cap table. That being said, if you can get anybody on your cap table, really, and if you need the money, I don't think I'd be as picky. It's just like I'm saying, it is something to think about when you are raising and when you are trying to get outside investors in your company. Also, like, could these people give you warm introductions? Counts. So, are you familiar with warm intros? And yeah, like it's just like someone actually brings you, because that's what VC's like. Like if you are referred by a founder or by someone ideally who's got a good record, so then it increases your profile. The perception matters. Like it's just you're more valuable in their eyes rather than if you just came from the street. So if someone can give you warm intros, if they can get you customers, if they can, if they have a large public persona, I think all these factors, they can help you a lot and to sell your equity. And then obviously everything kind of has to fit into place, right? So when you have people on your table, like when you have, like what you build, like who your co-founder is, and everybody kind of has to fit together. And you're actually going about raising, so again, like I decide, okay, this is the right time to raise. Like let's just do it now, and then that's what you gotta focus on. So make sure your business is taken care of, because you cannot be, especially as a founder, like I don't think you'd have anybody else, like no one can really do it for you, I'd say. So you really have to be raising yourself, and you're gonna expect a lot of rejections, and a lot of, just like investors, they're looking for reasons to pass or just to wait. And I've been told by other people that expect like to pitch like 100 times or 200 times. And but you only need one yes, right? Like it's like getting a job. It's the same thing. Like you just keep getting rejected all the time. Again, I think my strategy is to be a little more selective and a little more. Like I wouldn't go like full on pitching. I've actually never done that. So that's what other people have done that, and they have very successfully. And that being said, if you're persistent enough, like you might be able to raise in that PowerPoint, and you might be able to just go out to the world, and be like, yeah, hey, if you pitch 1,000 times, there is a chance that 0.1% of getting that yes, right? So that's roughly, I think, your chance. But the point being, it's very tough, and quite often it is said that it's not the best, but the most resilient that succeed. And for example, Airbnb, if you know Airbnb's story, they say that they should have been bankrupt many times, and they should have had given up long ago, right? Like the business wasn't viable, it just wasn't working. Nobody really understood why they stuck with it. And it's just like no one's coming to the rescue. Like you gotta keep iterating, and it's a lot of mental pressure. And I think this is another thing that is very understated. I kind of hope that it gets addressed at one point. Like it's like a founder mental health, because given how perception-based the business is, it's not a topic of debate. Like how hard and how stressful it is to actually be building something and to go through these iterations and get all these rejections, like either from your customers or from the investors. And it seems like, oh, no one actually wants your business, like no one wants your product, no one wants to give you money. So it bears down heavily on you, and it is your job as a founder to get over that and just keep going and keep grinding, and you'll get there eventually. But so long as you're resilient.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting that this is like a tech, like investing in tech. Was that?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my questions is, so let's say you have the investors. You have investors who are you're bringing in money by investors, but you're losing money in business. Is that?
So again, like you can keep losing money, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that to build something or to develop something, so let's say you're building, the best case to illustrate it on would be in healthcare. You're building a drug to cure cancer. it's not gonna happen overnight. And you need lots of money. So yes, like you're burning through cash for years until you get that payout. So same for this great drug, what's the biggest hype now with in the drug world? Like the miracle drug.
Ozempic.
Correct, yeah, Ozempic, yes. GLP-1.
Yeah.
GLP-1. So it has taken them some time to develop that, right? To build it, to test it. You need lots of resources to do that. So they've been burning money, it's just research, and it's the same thing. So yes, like you're trying to convince people to give you money for that research. And even for us, it took us some time to build the platform we have, and we're not finished. Like there's plenty of things that we gotta do to make it more efficient. Like we gotta be, also like our business in particular, it's based on scale. So we really have to get that efficiency so that we can offer a product like 1,000 times cheaper than it normally is. Like we're replacing a lawyer who you pay like thousands of dollars, and we gotta do it for $20 or something like that, right? So and normally again, like they don't say, they say don't compete on price unless you can offer an extreme scale. But yes, but to your question, yeah, like like in tech, these are not businesses that would be profitable from day one. Usually they're not. And the more manpower you have, and the more resources you have up front, like the faster you can build something that can actually get money. And the point about traction is to prove that people actually want that, or just like you can show that there is demand, and you gotta validate that in some ways. So I have a friend. She started an app to connect moms on maternity leave, and they got invested. They had no revenue. They had 5,000 users or something. But yeah, like first you get the users, and same like with Facebook, it was the same. Like they had no revenue for years. Now they're gazillion-dollar company. So
My next question is, when you do the rounds of funding, are they creating like LLCs and series LLCs for like each round of funding?
It's not. The investors don't like LLCs. Generally speaking, if you want to go and if you expect to raise VC money, you would go. Actually, I'll show you that instrument. Or you would go for a Delaware C Corp. Just everybody knows that you get incorporated in Delaware. That's pretty much a standard. Also, it's the easiest thing to maintain legally, because the world, especially in the US, it's just, you guys don't realize how easy it is to really like get by with all the tools that are available in the US. You just incorporate online, you get it done in 10 minutes.
That's my business is incorporating.
Yeah, so
that's kind of.
So I actually built an app. My first app was an app to incorporate a Czech limited liability company. So you could incorporate it in the Czech Republic.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I built that and I licensed it to a bank. They're still using it. But the market isn't very big. So there's plenty of agency costs down the line, like when you actually get that business done. Right? Like it's not like you need a lawyer still to issue a document or to change things. It takes you a lot of time. It's all manual, it's still Word documents, it's like 90s. But it's most countries. Whereas in the US, the scale is so huge that all these little bits are automated. From incorporation to issuing these document safes, we issue our safes from Mercury. So Mercury, it's a platform for startups, a banking solution for startups. It's an app that they work with a normal bank, but it looks like your online banking. We can issue our safe financing documents from Mercury. Just issue them online, and we get the money in the bank account. Everything is kind of automated. We don't have to deal with actually, like printing that or making the document in Word and changing the name.
So this is like the investor agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I mentioned a Delaware C Corp. So if you're starting and you expect to raise, you would get the Delaware C Corp because that's just what everybody does, and that's the most automated, and also like they're used to it. Limited by shares. So, and you like when you start, you just get everybody to commit on the safe. It's simple agreement for future equity. That's what it stands for, safe. And you don't deal with valuation a lot in those documents. and it's very simple. It's a 2-pager, and you can get money instantly. And then when the price round comes, so price round, it's a round when there is actually there is a value label put on your business. So right now nobody knows how valuable your business is, and with the safe you don't actually need to worry. So yeah, and for LLCs it's more difficult to raise money, and investors generally don't like that structure. They just want C corp.
Because it's the LLC and not a corp.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. LLC it's better for smaller businesses. For you have members and that, but yeah, like the investors just they want Delaware C corp. A good question though.
Yeah.
Where do you go to find investors or business owners who might invest?
I don't do it on purpose, generally. Like, it is, obviously, like, I'm strategic, like, not like, again, so this is, part of it is, the choice of where you actually are located, and to be very frank with you, Vegas isn't the best location.
Okay.
So, I picked Vegas, and to be in Vegas for different reasons, and I wasn't thinking about the business just so much. And, but typically, you'd have to go to events in San Francisco, ideally, or perhaps Austin. Austin's good. So yeah, it's a lot more tech focused.
Okay.
Vegas, I find it very challenging, and if I was to be raising here, there are like very few options, and it's very tough unless you're, I guess, in gaming or industries that people relate to, right? And again, because you got plenty of people who have the money to invest in you if they're in gaming, because that's just the industry here, so they understand it. So if you build something for casinos, chances are you will have customers here, and you'll have likely people who want to put money in, right? If I'm building in automating European law, it's not like there's plenty of sellers here and plenty of people who understand that kind of business. So it makes it very challenging.
So in those cities, San Francisco or Austin, what kind of events do you go to? Or how do you know if an event is good for you to go to?
So what really helped, specifically for Austin, was Antler. So Antler, they have to raise themselves. It's like it's a long waterfall.
Okay.
So they said that to raise the Antler fund, they gave 900 pitches. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? Like it's a number that you cannot even imagine. Yeah. It's like almost 3,000 conversations, because it's not like the pitch, like you close the deal on a pitch, right?
Steve,
So
move your mouse a little bit. The TV
sorry.
keeps on turning on and off, and I don't know.
I think it's the HDMI thing.
The cord.
Yeah, it's the cord, I guess. Okay, let's so maybe if I'm just not touching the table.
It
it's
might
fine.
be on the TV then.
Yeah. But yeah, like they had lots of conversations, and they showed us like how they did that. And again, like in Austin, so they facilitate the intros. So they actually brought people in from larger VCs to make those intros, and you could actually talk to them. So when you hit that milestone, again, they're not gonna invest today, but you get to know them, and they can watch you. So and that's how they de-risk you. So you're on their radar, and the moment you get on their radar, you're better positioned to raise from them in a year or 6 months. Like depends when you hit the key numbers. And for raising in Austin, the tech scene is more developed. So there are people who are more interested, more industry agnostic. And yeah, like what events would it make sense to go to? All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, just all of them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Partnering with some sort of incubator. Interesting.
Yeah, like if you have that, like if you have an accelerator or somebody who can facilitate that, it helps. But that being said, you still have to go. Like that's why. Yeah. And eventually you'll figure. Like if you go to an event a couple times, if you talk to people, you'll figure if it makes sense to keep having those conversations or not.
Fair. Thank you.
Yeah. Like I kind of hope that it would change in Vegas, or like Vegas would grow so I could stay in Vegas.
Yeah.
No, it was good when Tony Shea, when he did our revitalization of downtown. Like it was a really good scene, probably like a decade ago.
Sorry, what was it?
Zappo, Tony Shea with Zappos and all that. He did he was buying up property, and he would have events like this, and they were For Vegas, they were on par. They weren't San Francisco level, but there were so many businesses that came out of that. But once he passed away and everything kind of fizzled away. But
So LinkUp group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's very tough to make it a focus. Ultimately, if you're in San Francisco, chances are that if you're just by virtue of being there,
right, proximity.
yeah, exactly. Like eventually, like you get to meet people who might be willing or able to, or like they might have an interest. Like it's easier to get those conversations going.
How do you come up with an idea for product? How do you come up with the idea?
Oh, I have an idea today.
What do you do?
Yeah.
And the problem is not acting on them. That is my biggest problem. Like it's my biggest problem is concentrating on a single thing, and not branching out. So and I find it really difficult. But ideas like I get them all the time, especially here. So I think when you are in an environment, especially if you have a comparison, so I think that gives you a lot of ideas like that. For example, healthcare. The fact that I was able to compare two healthcare systems, and even what would make sense financially, or just in terms of the business, I think it made a lot more sense. Like I know, just if I had the time, I know that I could make money in the healthcare business just because I know I could get these people insured, and I tested it on a couple of people, so they'd be willing to pay.
Well, Vegas, some of the growth is the healthcare, manufacturing, and also business, bringing business in is, those are some of the biggest things that Vegas is concentrating on.
Yeah. No, I know Vegas as a city, or even I think as a state. Yeah, no worries. Great meeting. So they have their strategy in terms of what they want to focus on. Like they want to bring in specific businesses, right? Especially if you're in their verticals. So in the tradition, and again, like it's so much easier. So I think this is the biggest challenge. Like I'd say, if you want to build a tech business, I don't think Vegas today is your best bet. Honestly, I don't think so, because you need the people, you need people, and you need the volume, the industry energy. It's just hard to get. And again, I had different reasons why I came to Vegas. I didn't want to live in a one-bedroom in California, so that's just like a simple fix. And I wanted the sun, and I didn't want the humidity all the time. But so it's more of a lifestyle choice. But it's just like the fact of the matter is that these hubs, they make it so much easier. So yeah, like and I think it's holding us back. To be honest, it is. Yeah, like it slows us down.
What part is holding us back?
Just the fact that I'm here and I'm not in one of those hubs. Yeah, because you kind of have to get there. And again, like there are people, including Leo Petrosian, the guy I mentioned before. He said it doesn't matter if you're online or if you're remote or not. But again, like he's a really good salesman. He's brilliant. So for him, it doesn't matter. I'd say for most people, it doesn't matter if you're in person. Yeah. So that was the question. Yeah, like what kind of events you go to. Yeah. All of them is figured out.
So with your software that you have,
So
can you reverse it, and like would people from Europe want to sell in the United States, and how could you reverse? No, they don't want to.
No, as in obviously, like people from Europe do want to sell in the
Hi
United
guys,
States.
I'm sorry, we're still in the middle of the workshop with Steve. If you guys want to just for a couple of minutes, yeah.
But it would be tough to reverse because we have the legal system works. Like we are familiar with European law and kind of like US legal documents, so we can convert it one way. But taking like documents from Europe, it would be tough, and also like we need to focus on those regulations. I mean, there is an actual peopleware behind the scenes doing the stuff that are not automated yet. Right? Like it takes you a little while. So I mentioned at the beginning that your goal is to sell and to test the demand. So for example, what we did, like there was a new regulation coming into force in Europe, the General Product Safety Regulation. Well, anyways, like there's always like some like sledgehammer like coming down on businesses in Europe every now and then, and then people are kind of surprised when it actually comes into force. This regulation made it mandatory to have a European responsible person, so you actually have to have somebody in Europe with an address and an email reachable, and then you gotta display it on the back of the packaging, and there are a couple other requirements.
Really?
Yes.
Kind of like a registered agent.
Yeah, yeah, for everybody, no matter the product, for everybody. So, and there was a hard deadline when it went into force. We just tested it. What we did, we didn't really build an automation for it, right? Like it would take ages. So we just put out a front end. We put a payment link on the page, had it done in 3 hours, started Google Ads, see if we get an inbounds and see if we convert, and we did convert. And that's how we know. Then obviously you gotta take care of those people, right? Like, okay. I mean, worst case that happens is you return the money, but at least you know that there is demand, like you validated the demand. And if you can actually take care of those customers, it's perfect because it's recurring revenue. Actually, and by the way, that's why we started doing the second product, because it's not a lot of work for us. Like, I like it far better than the tax product, because with the tax product, there's always something going wrong. There's a lot of liability. Government systems often don't work, and we kind of have to work with them too. And there is limited influence we exert over government systems in different countries. And whereas with the packaging business, we don't need anybody. We're self-sufficient. And we are able to test it within 3 hours, get some traction over a week, and then we decided that this is something we pursue. Also, like the good thing is that through this product, we're able to get customers for the other product that we already had. So, but the point being, there is no automation. There is no software. there is just a Stripe link, and you gotta have somebody taking care of that, right? So yeah, and then we figure.
For the new people that just joined, so Steve Strebl is our lunch and learn today. So do you guys have any questions? He's here. He's the CEO of his own company. He's been an entrepreneur for a while now. He is just sharing his experience about finances. Do you guys have your own company that you guys are starting or anything like that?
No, I'm just kind of here to learn.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to quickly do like a 5-minute brief of the presentation?
5-minute brief. So the bulk or the gist of the presentation was about raising money, especially raising money early. So when you're just starting a business, a tech business, and you want to go and have people invest in your business, and then like you want to be positioned to raise later. And the whole point was that the people who are most likely to invest in you early on are the people you already know. And they might not invest a lot, but you gotta get started. And these people lend credibility to your business, and perception matters. So if you have other people who are willing to place a bet on you, then you're more likely to raise in the future, because there's at least somebody in the world who's willing to put money at stake and make a bet on your success. That's a 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I was like, yeah, that pretty much wrapped up everything. Do you have any final thoughts, like anywhere where people can find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn. You don't have to connect. And otherwise, yeah, like we got our website. So if you want to find out more about the business, I think it's quite odd in Vegas, because it's like we're dealing exclusively with European law, and even though it's for U.S. businesses.
And then
your slide with your contact info.
Sorry?
Again, your slide with your contact info.
Oh, did I actually have contact info there?
I think, well, it said your name.
Yeah,
And
name's there.
then your LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, my name's there. You can find me. Do look me up. So I didn't actually. I know I should have put out a QR code or something, but I can give you a QR code. Well, you just scan me. So.
What's your last name?
Strebl. S-T-R-E-B-L.
And then if you guys want to put your own LinkedIn's, you guys can up here as well. And then I'll take a picture and then I'll put it on our Slack channel. If you guys, is it your guys' first time at a Startup Vegas event?
No, but first time I had a LinkUp event.
Yeah, awesome. So if you're on like startup.vegas, that's our website. You can join our Slack channel, and all of our information, along with like pictures that I send out, are going to be on there.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to. I mean, I don't think I'm like an expert. I just go by, like figure things out on the fly, like everybody. Like I don't, again, like there are no rules, like there's very little structure. Like there's some rules of thumb in this whole VC or racing game, but there is no, like nothing hard on like a rule book or something. Yeah. Also, like if you get investors on, if you have somebody on your cap table, the dynamic changes, and you have fiduciary duty, right? Like you have to take care of someone else's money. So it goes the other way, that you have put your reputation at stake. Like if you can actually deliver. I still think that if you tell people that you're giving up soon, like they're not going to be excited, and it's going to harm your reputation. So just.
What's next for you in your business?
Yeah, good question. So right now we're just building, and we're actually like at the stage like when we're focused on building for, and again like we're not talking years here, like we're talking like months.
Fair.
So we'd be like, I'd say like the next 2 months are just building months. We still have some new business, but we are not actively selling or anything. We have stopped because it was taking up a lot of our bandwidth, and we still have to pick our battles.
Right.
And so we think that we might go for a larger seed, like towards the end of the year. And yeah, and we haven't decided. So then again, it's the question of how much control you're willing to give up, and how much time you're willing to spend on raising, and does it actually make a lot of sense? So yeah, like that's pretty much it.
Fair.
Were you expecting something specific?
I just always love to learn like what's next in people's business. And it sounds like you're doing a lot of selling, but now you're.
So we have customers, right? We have other customers that we are working with, and we kind of work with most of them very closely. And we are coming. And again, like maybe it was a mistake. On the other hand, it gave us some early revenue and early traction, so it helped a lot. On the other hand, it really tied up our bandwidth on dealing with all those issues and even the issue, for example, that I mentioned before. So, like we want to streamline all these things so that we can actually start selling.
Right.
And once these things are, but again, like these things have been identified thanks to the fact that we onboarded customers. So once we got all that figured out, we can go on and just sell more. And that would be the stage. And once we hit that, then the customer count will start rising, and that would be the moment that we'd ask for more money. And also, like the question with raising is that the best investors you can utilize or you can lean on are those that you already have. So our strategy would probably be, if we need more money, we lean on the people we already have, and we ask them, hey, we are hitting this, like we might need a little bit more money. And we wouldn't go and ask anybody new until it would be a bigger round. So things change every day.
I actually know somebody who works with a lot of e-com brands, especially marketing e-com brands, and maybe I could connect you guys, and she could like sell your service to them. Yeah,
that'd be great. I'd be happy to. Yeah, if you can make an intro, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. Like if you know anything, I'm happy to. I also listen, so I think it's mutual.
Yeah, man. I'll throw you guys in the group chat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the information.
Yeah, no worries.
I really enjoyed it. Something I had no idea about. So it's good to learn something new.
Steve, are you going to be here for a bit?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here for a bit. So my one downside that I'm dealing with is that I can only focus on one thing at a time.
No, you're good. Me too.
Like that means even when I'm typing. Yeah, I struggle. I struggle with multitasking.
No, I get it. I was talking to Lexi yesterday at one of our other events, and she was talking to me full conversation. I was responding, and then I saw an email pop up, and I was like blank. And I was like, what did you say?
Yeah, so yeah, I have that all the time, unfortunately. Like same with giving presentations or you know, like talking. Like I used to actually enjoy remote work generally, and even though sometimes there is a lot of value in in-person collaboration, especially early on. That being said, I found it very draining when I actually had to go to the office in the past. Like, or even if like my first job out of college was in open space, and that was like a soul-crushing experience. So, yeah, like then when I transitioned, when I could actually close the door to my office and lock it, so that was, yeah, it was really like when things turned for the better. Yeah. Well, so what do you guys do, or what's your thing?
I work for Power Team International. We're a global business consulting firm, helping small, medium, and large businesses launch, grow, and scale. So right now we have something called the CEO Summit coming up on March 1st. It's this event, luncheon, where you meet a bunch of business owners, and right now I'm just, meeting people and promoting that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All of you? Or
No.
But I also do consulting for a large-ish global firm. Growth strategy and supply chain management primarily. Been in it about 2 years. Prior to that, built a startup doing space-based AI.
Nice.
That got acquired, and then I moved back into the consulting world.
Oh, wow, then you got more experience than me on this.
Yeah, I missed most of the presentation.
I would love to listen. So you have that experience. It's cool.
I'm a clinical strategist. I work for a clinical research organization and help with the pretty much strategy for the clinical trials. And I'm here to learn about startup because I'm thinking of starting my own business.
Cool. Yeah, you should go for it.
Yeah.
Totally. So clinical trials, actually that's a cool area. Like do you use a data room for that, or do you? So so the other day, I used to date someone, and she worked in like a data room company. They had a lot of traction with clinical trial people. So I don't know what your company does exactly in terms of clinical trials, like if they send them up, because there's plenty of legislation surrounding how you store and manage data in clinical trials.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. My company actually merged with another company that was more on the data side. So initially I joined the segment that they were more the science side, so running the clinical trials, but we also have IMS Health, which were focused on human data and storage of data and all those. So when they merged, I think we do that in-house, so we don't go to third-party vendors for that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of, and then we're starting something that's artificial intelligence in healthcare. So that's part of one segment of that side of the company.
Nice.
And they're, pretty advanced at that point. They've been working on different kinds of, strategies for the past 10 years. So we are in a partnership with Microsoft as well, and yeah. So my company is actually it's healthcare, it's healthcare related, but we have the science part and more of the tech part.
And it's based in Vegas?
It's not.
Are you remote?
I'm remote.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Nice, yeah. So have you thought about starting a business in healthcare?
Not really. No, I was looking towards more like a different sort of business, but not necessarily related to the clinical research or
Because usually it does help to have domain knowledge in the business. So if you know a lot about clinical trials, chances are that there are no people who have that kind of insights. Like saying what I figured, and actually I came across this by coincidence. So I've always been selling something on the side, like since high school pretty much, and knew a lot about European law, so I never needed a lawyer for anybody, or for anything. For like bureaucracy, all my US paperwork, never needed a lawyer for that. And same for many things. So then I was with this bigger startup, and like they raised 3.6 billion in the US on buying up Amazon brands. And I was given some European accounts, and they're real struggling with compliance. And even the US lawyers came up to me like, Steve, what is this letter? Like, I see you didn't register for trash in Germany. And these are just things that didn't occur to me that anybody would find challenging until you see that this one hit would take off a $20,000 account, and overnight you just lose that revenue, right? Just through like those mistakes. So that's when it occurred to me that I might have some unique insight into that, and how I got into it. And I also, by the way, before that, I wanted to build drones. So yeah, like the actual like military drones or like counter drone technology. Like that was what I was looking into. I like did some time in the military, and so I thought I had some insight. Turns out you'd still need a lot more. I mean, especially like it's like confidential, right, and everything. So yeah, like so I guess if you have domain knowledge, like then it helps a lot. So you're thinking totally somewhere else, something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm still
Maybe you could though.
Sorry?
I could, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard someone who used to work for my company went and started their own CRO and were able to sell it. They got acquired by a larger CEO because competition is key. They don't want to have a lot of small CROs who focus on particular countries or particular clients. They're very kind of niche and like designer. Yeah. So they get acquired, and you know that was great profit for that startup.
So do you want to share like what area you're thinking about?
No, it's totally different. It's more like a fudge store.
Fudge?
Yes.
Like food?
Yes, like food.
Yeah. That's cool. That sounds tasty. So,
Yeah.
Like a special kind?
Special kind. Very special kind.
Okay.
So I used to work at my first job as a teenager was at a food store on the East Coast, and I spent some time there learning about, how to make it first, how to sell it, what sells, what are the customers' tastes, and granted that was East Coast. But then I started thinking, Vegas doesn't really have anything like that at all. Like, not the same experience at least. I know you can still go to Whole Foods and get those pre-wrapped things, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So I was thinking homemade in the store, very similar experience.
Yeah. Look, it might work. So what I was thinking, in like a couple of years back, coffee wasn't really a thing, or like a coffee experience, roasting wasn't a thing here, and it was a thing in Europe, and I thought, okay, well, it's there. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Americans wouldn't go for it. Today, you have plenty of roasteries, right? Like you have people who make like a pour over Starbucks, and Starbucks is there. So it caught on, and now it's a thing, and people obviously like it. So it's not just me who drinks pure black coffee, and so I think if people like it there, chances are that it might work.
Yeah, and there isn't necessarily anything that at least I've seen here in Vegas that's close to.
Do you have to make your own?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
and
it.
you can go like real fancy with the flavors and just
Gold leaf.
I don't know gold leaf, but
Rosemary sea salt.
I made a batch of dark chocolate, apricot, ginger, and pistachio.
Nice.
That was like delicious.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that might work.
Yeah.
And if people like it elsewhere, and if you have to make it for yourself, or say like there's one thing related to this. So my favorite dessert is scones and clotted cream. wasn't a thing. I was like, where would I get it? Here, like a couple of years back, wouldn't even think. Now there are a couple of places in here where you can actually get scones and clotted cream. And do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh.
The dessert scones? Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
it's
know what scones are, but I don't know what.
Oh, clotted cream. So clotted cream is something between heavy cream and butter. And it is a British dessert. I studied in the UK, and I first found out in the UK that it's a thing there, and I fell in love with it. So you have it with tea, and just delicious. So like, and I'm the kind of person who eats butter from the stick and drinks heavy cream.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
man, right here.
yeah. So yeah, like I guess I got told that my cholesterol is too high. So yeah. But I was excited.
Yeah.
That now you can get this here, and obviously people like there are other people who like it. It just hasn't been discovered. And I bet if you guys try, you might come to like it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's the same story. It might be the same story with the fudge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't think twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no fudge here.
See? Yeah.
There's really no
Not
fudge in
homemade.
Vegas.
At least I haven't seen. I've seen.
Well, there's no fudge in Vegas.
Where would you get fudge in Vegas?
I just assumed they have fudge everywhere, but
Seas candy.
damn.
But it's not fudge.
No, yeah,
It's
like
candy.
that's my.
Or it's like FOM, which is
yeah,
chocolate.
yeah, that's like where I
It's
was.
different.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you want to make it fresh,
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
make a.
I've
Yeah,
only
yeah, I
ever
wanna
seen
make it
one
fresh.
place.
Where?
It was someone that was tabling inside downtown Sullivan, West Mountain.
Fudge business.
Oh.
you can make nuggets of millions.
No, they were
Yeah,
inside
true,
West
true.
Mountain.
Yeah.
It was really
They got
interesting. I was like, I'm surprised they would have let you in here and done it.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But it was really good. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Ultimately,
Are they
I
permanent?
think if I had a spectacular
remember. I'm absolutely sure it's homemade.
I'd be happy to do that. I don't need
Are they like an allocation
develop a
permanent?
unicorn.
No, I don't.
You don't
Well, I don't go to
need
West
Well, a
Mountain.
unicorn.
A
Yeah.
unicorn.
Unicorn, a $1 billion.
But I haven't seen them
Oh, a
since.
unicorn. Oh, yeah.
And it's been
yeah.
too long for me to
So,
remember the business.
Still,
order.
like if you have a great consumer product,
I think I might have a photo.
and also
Because I
like
think
if
I bought it
you're
during
going, right, like you
Valentine's.
can focus
Oh,
more, then like
cool.
it can be
Yeah.
like put on
That's
my
fun.
autopilot.
You know, like,
I think what's tricky
Does
with
the farmer's
food
market
Yeah.
active?
is the scale.
Does anyone do that?
Because you
Oh,
ultimately,
self-fudge?
especially
Wow.
when you make it
I
fresh.
haven't
machinery-
like I've only
yeah,
gone to
machinery
summer like
expenses.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
and
Supply
And I
chain.
haven't.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
seen
Yeah, like
cookies,
yellow
Yeah.
bread, fresh,
like pies,
then
like
Lots
you
of
end up
breads and
bread, things like that.
muffins.
I
Oh,
don't-
we
I-
don't
yeah,
do
don't
that.
bring
Like,
them
I guess
the
like
same
there's ways
stuff.
Yeah.
to
There's
more
this
fresh
place
the
that
scale.
sells
Oh, that would be
stromboli.
Are you thinking about exiting at some point?
Pizza
Maybe
stromboli.
at
So
different industry?
good, and they have like a
Yeah.
toaster oven that
Just to
heats
see.
it up,
I'm
and it's
like,
vegan.
you know, I'm
So
very
good. It's like
experienced, so I
$5.
would much time
Yeah, I
something
don't.
else.
Do you remember
That being said,
how
I
much
like
was
cutting
the
through
fudge
the thing.
price then?
Cutting through what?
No,
Red tape.
I don't.
Bureaucracy.
like-
Oh, there's so much bureaucracy.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's my
remember if it
advice
was in the
to
tens or
people
eight.
back
It
to
was
the
like
people.
8 to like
And that's what you're doing
$50
right now.
for like
Yeah,
a couple.
exactly.
Hell yeah.
For like
It was
So
like a
it-
baggie.
It looks
See if I
like
can find a
like
photo.
Google Zoom are
Yeah.
going
The
out
other
of
place I
business
can
because
think of in
ChatGPT
Big Bear,
nowadays
California,
helps with
there's a
all that.
little
I
Right?
think Chip, I
homemade
think LegalZoom might
dessert
have
shop.
missed their
and they
moment.
had
They were kind of just
fudge
I
there.
capitalizing on what
I've
they
seen
built.
fudge
Yeah.
Then at
in,
some point, someone
in
destroyed
Boulder
it.
City.
But even
Oh, okay.
I think
So
LegalZoom
Boulder
could be
City,
improved
yeah.
significantly.
That's
Yeah,
And it's not very
good.
Yeah, no, that's a.
I tried
You're
it.
just
Yeah,
more
it's
efficient,
not,
right? Like you can offer more, you can do more tweaks
Mhm.
to that, and you still need somebody to file all that. I'm trying to think as to how I could incorporate AI into our business, because I really think you need to do it sooner.
Oh yeah.
And not just for the label, right? Like I wouldn't be doing it just to have a label, oh, we're an AI company. No, but I think, like.
Mindfieldfinder.ai.
Yeah. No, but it is something that can help you, and it's just like it comes down to figuring out how, like, where's the.
What do
and
you
we-
think that opportunity is in your company?
So, I have a very rough idea, and I'm happy to take ideas or bounce ideas back.
Yeah.
So feel free to like give feedback. But there's plenty of things, surprisingly, with government that are not public knowledge, even though they should be public knowledge. For example, if you want to register for taxes in France or pay
There's a guest one,
taxes
a
in
WeWork
Germany,
guest.
you won't find the bank accounts and instructions how to pay.
Really?
Yes. it's not public. And say, for example, when you want to register for tax, you would have to call a lady at a very specific French tax authority, and she'd send you a presentation, a slide deck. It's not public.
That's so lame.
And yeah, like there's
Oh, they're still active.
So
or if
It's
you
called
want to register
embellished
as a
fudge.
foreign company in the Czech Republic,
Oh, I was just thinking.
there is a 28-page document in Czech.
I
And
know.
you have to dig
Well,
very deep.
I wouldn't have
Of course
to
there
do
is.
it if I
Yeah,
don't.
my goodness. So that's what it takes to do what in
Okay,
the Czech Republic?
Get your VAT registration,
alright,
value added tax.
alright, so that's
And,
the competition.
Then and there is a very specific lady in
Well, now I have
Ostrava.
to try yours to make sure that yours is
Yeah.
better.
Yes, with
I'm
these
just gonna
companies
go
from
buy
the US.
some. Yeah,
And see,
And
for sure.
so,
Yeah.
so the point being, like there is plenty of information, and it's not public information.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
And
if
that's
you're
the thing.
able to put
Like, she
this
sells
kind
at
of into
farmers
a model or
markets.
into
Yeah.
AI,
That's what
it
everyone
could actually
says I should
be
do.
a
Yeah.
very
But if
solid
you wanna
helper,
make
and
it
it
more
would
of an
streamline a lot of things.
experience,
And I just
exactly.
haven't figured
That's a
out
whole
how to
other-
do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
You
so,
got it,
yeah.
yeah, you got it.
Issue
Everyone's like, oh,
Getting
start small.
all the
I know, but
information in
you're
the
trying
first
to
place
get
to
an
give you a
experience.
She
Yeah.
has
So
a
good
whole
coffee.
calendar.
It's more like figuring out how to make it
This is
useful.
wherever
Oh,
she's
yeah.
gonna be at.
Like, you know, how are you gonna sell it? It's one thing you
It's
have that
just much.
information, like, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, how am I gonna
Exactly.
monetize
Yeah,
it?
otherwise
I'll
end up like
Grow
this
over
thing.
time.
And
Yeah, how's the
do I
AI
have to
gonna
do
help you?
that?
So AI
To
is
do
built
yeah.
on the
Save
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
capital.
and you have
Yeah.
lots of
Well, I think
information
you want
to
it
go
to
through,
be
right?
like,
You have a 500
Like
page doc.
if you're a brewery and you're in
And,
your brewery group,
it
like
helps
you
you
want people to
understand the
see
gist
the whole
of it all.
thing. I
Exactly.
can also see like you
So,
have those classes.
there's
you can
plenty
do
of this
thing, like,
information
you
that
can
we
really
have.
like a
Yeah,
And that few other people
yeah,
have.
that's what I want.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I
It's
haven't
not. It's
figured
just not just like
out
it's an experience.
Right,
to make
and
use.
like,
Maybe it could
ideas I've
be
gotten from
Yeah.
people is like,
sold
truck.
as like
Yeah.
a B2B
Yeah.
service
it's kind of
for
like
larger
lowering
companies
your
in the
expectations
US
and like
Yeah.
elevating.
Yeah.
who are looking to
And then
expand in the
farmers
European
markets.
markets.
Well, like smaller
Well, it
companies
seems
need
like
this
you
a lot
wanna make
more,
it
so
a
big
bit
companies
more
pay big bucks for
elevated.
lawyers, they don't care.
Yeah,
Correct.
They'll just
yeah.
pay,
So
you know,
farmers market
$1,000
might be good
fee
for like A/B testing
per hour.
recipes and things like that.
but
Yeah.
smaller
But, like,
companies, they
just
do count.
not for business.
So you don't have an in-house lawyer, like
Or
let's say you have
maybe,
5 people,
Like
you're selling,
an advertisement.
Yep.
you're selling
Okay,
fudge.
I'm going to this
You're
farmer's
selling
market
Germany.
in order to
Right.
attract more
And
clients
you've got 3
to my
people.
shop.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
I
So,
don't wanna do.
It's
this.
that kind of company,
Yeah.
like for example, one of my
Yeah.
customers,
Gotta figure out because everyone say you
they're
have to
selling
have this
baby
100,000 in
carriers.
the bank to
Selling
start
what?
a shop.
baby carriers.
Baby carriers.
Yeah,
What's that?
Do you
it's a carrier where you put a baby.
Oh,
put a
baby
bottle.
carrier. Okay.
No.
so
And,
they're like a newer
Small company.
shop and I feel
Yeah.
like
But again, like you wouldn't have a lawyer,
they
you
like
don't have the
spent like it was
resources.
a whole like
Austin,
they
what do you
tracked
think?
their whole journey of like how they got
Or
to
you in the
the
middle of something?
storefront.
No. Go ahead.
Steve and I were talking about, he has this idea of where there's a whole bunch of this knowledge
Yeah, I
about
think you'll
European
just find
law
it's like similar to
that you gotta call one
what
specific
they,
woman from Australia to
Mm.
be able to do
like
business
their whole
in the
story
Czech
of how they
Republic,
got there.
basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
were thinking like,
Yeah,
how
'cause
could
they, it,
we
like,
take
talks how
that
like they
and
like
turn it
it
into
took them
a monetizable
almost
model?
a year to even get in the store. Like they had the store.
So it's
the
about
whole
essentially
process of, like,
reducing a
getting
lot
the
of
name, marketing, the brand, getting
The
out there,
barriers
So-
to
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
business in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could choose the easiest, the obvious
I think
choice.
that's.
Yeah.
So we do have a chatbot.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. But how do you unlock
And then
that
yeah,
knowledge
they
that
went
one
and did
person?
Like
like,
actually,
like,
a
cross-
chatbot that tells you in human
take their
comprehensible
cookies out of
terms
the restaurant and like,
how to get
people
registered
do in so
on your own
many
if you need to.
videos
Yeah.
How
about
to
like,
deal with that.
oh, we're going to try
How to
this
pay.
burger, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And
Instead of us
it
doing
was
it,
a lot
instead
of
of us
like,
answering the
Yeah.
questions.
yeah,
Or it could do it for you.
Yeah.
getting their name
Just
out,
do the whole
sharing
thing.
That would be
sharing
beautiful.
the
Yeah.
content.
But
with
unfortunately,
people
there's the
that are
government on the other
established and
end.
just being like, hey, like,